Good evening, folks, and welcome to week 2 of my Belgian Beer Month, the month of February 2020. The second beer that I have for this is it's a Belgian beer. It's Duvel. In North America, most people would say Duvel, but my understanding, if you go to Belgium, it's Duvel, as in like village, so Duvel. So I give my glass a quick cold water rinse as per usual, and then we'll get into it. As I said, second week of Belgium, and Belgium is a really unique beer country. I mean, they've been brewing beer for hundreds of years. And if you think about Belgium, it's a pretty small country, but they're surrounded by some big players. France, Germany, and the Netherlands. And one thing I read, they said, you think of France, you think of wine, you think of Cuba, you think of cigars. Well, when you think of Belgium, you should be thinking of beer. They're that far into beer and always have been. Another thing I read, they said, the Belgian beers, what I found really is that you don't know what you're going to get. They're all unique. And one thing I read, they said has Belgian beer, they have the flair of France, the sturdiness of the Dutch, and the precision of the Germany. Highly influenced all around them. So let's get this little baby poured up. Whoa. That's the first time that ever happened. I got a quick taste of it. Bear with me now, I'll clean up my mess. This beer actually does a second fermentation in the glass, in the bottle, which normally makes it a little bit gassier than regular beers. As you can see, a nice head. But I've never had that to that degree where she poured out. It's almost like she was shaken up. It's an imported beer, so it is quite possible that it's, excuse me for a second, it's a little bit older than what you would get obviously on site. Not much else I can say regarding that. Like I said, first time that ever happened to me on camera anyways. As I said, they do a second fermentation in the bottle. That means just before it's bottled they add an extra little bit of yeast, which continues the fermentation. And that also, when that yeast dies, it normally goes to the bottom of the glass. So oftentimes with beers that ferment in the bottle, you're going to get a little bit of cloudiness, which I really don't have with this one. And quite often, when it's poured, a lot of times the bartender or whoever is pouring it, they'll leave an inch on the bottom, because that's normally where the dead yeast is. And some people like to drink it, other people don't. So it's totally up to the drinker. If I can get aroma. Kind of a unique aroma. Different tasting. Everything here is in, I believe it's Dutch. Let's see what I can get. It just says specialty beer. That's what I'm getting out of it. 8.5% alcohol. 1871, which is when the brewery was started. And that's what it is. Just instructions there how to pour a perfect beer. Alright, so what else can I say? 1871. It's a family-owned brewery. The brewery nowadays is Duvel Moortgat, and basically they say 1871, and post World War I, one of the family members, they went to actually Scotland and got a strain of yeast, which apparently they've been using ever since. And the Duvel is their flagship beer. The brewery, when it first started, a little bit of an interesting story. It was Brewery Moortgat, where brewery was obviously Dutch, brewery or something like that, but basically translation, Brewery Moortgat. Their first beer was called Victory, and that celebrated the end of the Second World War. Sorry, the end of the First World War. Somebody drinking it, they referred to it as a real devil, and that's how the name came about. Duvel is Flemish. And they might have said something, high alcohol content, so perhaps that's why he said it's a real devil, but either way the name stuck. But at that time it was actually a dark beer, and that was I think up to about the 1970s when we got what they consider a really pale and a unique taste. It's listed as a Belgium strong golden ale, and they say it's known for its voluptuous head and the herbal aroma. I am getting a unique aroma, so I would assume that's what they're referring to as a herbal aroma. As for the taste, it's definitely unique. I can't even actually describe it. It's really unique. It's one of those things I think you actually have to experience it yourself, because I can't actually put my finger on the taste I'm getting. It's not bad by any means. I'm trying to think of a rating for it, and anybody who hasn't followed me before, I give my ratings out of 5, where about 1 is what I consider a drain pour. Can't drink it, it's going down the sink. A 2 is, yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I'm not going to waste it. I'll finish my beer. A 3 is a good beer, a 4 is a very good beer, and a 5 would be the best beer ever. And so I either give whole numbers or whole and a half numbers. So I'll do like either a 3 or a 3.5, whatever the case might be. For this one, the taste is so unique. And I can't figure out where I've had it before, but I've definitely had it. And the only thing I can think of, I have spent time in Belgium. Although I don't think I've ever had this beer, it's quite possible that perhaps I did while I was over there, because I've always been known, try a local beer type thing. So it is possible. To give it a rating, I'm leaning towards a 3.5 or 4. Decisions. I think I'm going to give it a 3.5, which basically means it's somewhere in between a good beer and a very good beer. If anybody's been following me, 3.5, that's a good rating for me. So there you go, folks. My rating for the Duvel, or Duvel as many North Americans would call it, 3.5, and that would be my second beer from Belgium. I have 2 left. And the next 2 weeks, I have a Saison DuPont, and I have another Petrus, this one being an aged red. 2 beers I haven't tried, and once again, these are beers that my friend Mike gave me a couple of weeks ago. And so hopefully you can join me next week. So there you go, folks. It's my review for the Duvel 3.5. Until next beer, as always, enjoy responsibly. Cheers.